Well,
got a guest. Haven't had a guest on my channel in forever and a day.
Probably since the last time we were here.
Yep. Yeah, him and his wife Gladys came over when I cleared the land, helped me. We had a hell of a burn. But as you can see,
still looking amazing around here, yeah.
Went and bought that swing I was talking about this morning. And well, we're not going to sit in it together. Then we'd be two swinging vets.
Yeah.
But that's what
I don't want to put the love in love seat.
No. I like it. It's not as beefy as I remembered it from yesterday, but it'll do. This is something I could have easily built, but it would have took time.
That's nice.
To find these sides, you know.
And you're already decorating for Halloween.
And now I've got a thing I can copy off of if I want to build one. Very basic, but it works.
Yeah, it's not bad. And you'd already have the hardware.
Yep. Well, anyway, I had mentioned something about subscriber had mentioned something. Well, he said stuff, but you know, to the effect that dogs, we worship dogs in our society today, and animals and pets. And I disagreed with him. And it wasn't the first time he had said things like that. But he had also mentioned that we're spending all this money on dogs and cats and pets when we have veterans living in the street, veterans suffering. Well, we're both disabled veterans.
They're choosing to do that.
They are choosing to do that because I'm going to tell you, you know, you can say what you want about the VA. Yeah. VA takes care of us. I mean, it may be a little hard to get, you know, a claim in with them. And that should be. It should be. That's going to eliminate the people that don't have it. Now, if you have something that happened to you in service, which we both do, you have that in your records. And so making a claim is a lot easier. Ain't always guaranteed, but it's easier.
Oh, it still wasn't very easy.
No, they don't make it easy.
It took me about 6 years to get my claim fixed.
I got mine pretty quick, but I'd already went through this with Social Security disability, which I no longer have. But they do that for a reason. You know, people, even in the VA, people are committing fraud, saying they got this and that. And believe me, you have to prove that you have an issue. And I don't really know all the issues he has. It's none of my business. He don't know all the issues I have. But it's enough for the VA.
I know it's crazy.
Well, yeah.
I know that one.
But the point is this. And I had mentioned that when one of these shootings happens, the first thing the media is asking is if they were a veteran. They're somehow relating these, you know, combat, and because we know how to fire weapons, they seem to think that that's a trigger. Well, this guy that did this Mormon shooting, now here's my theory, okay? Yes, even though he was a vet, and they were listing all his medals. Well, those are medals that are automatic. Same with the Navy. I was in the Army.
We call those the I do medals.
Yeah, you're going to get them.
Right hand, you say I do.
Yep.
Here's your medal.
You get a good conduct medal. If you go overseas, you get in a war zone or whatever. You get a McDonald's
medal. Yeah. Just for serving, you get a medal.
But that guy was a mechanic. Okay, he didn't see combat, so to blame that on him because, you know, what he did, you know, he had a lot more issues in his civilian life than he had in the military. I don't know what he did, you know. It said he was a mechanic. We won't know for sure. But I can guarantee you, you know, and vets, you got to think of how many veterans there are. Millions.
Oh, yeah.
So they're people like you and me, you know.
Countless.
We're just the same. You probably, and most veterans have a lot longer civilian life than they do a veteran life. Or a military life. So they're influenced more by what they do in the civilian life. But I guarantee you, if they do something wrong, they know it's wrong. Because they know it's wrong. That is a difference. You don't get into the military, well, you shouldn't get into the military with bad mental problem. But it happens.
Yeah, it does happen. I mean, not very often, but it does happen.
But that chain, I got to.
Oh yeah.
If they hear that, so I just wanted you to, you know,
You
since
got a
he was helping me.
Little bee flying around.
That's
Whatever those things are
one of
called.
them sweat bees.
Yeah.
I just wanted you guys to hear it from another veteran's viewpoint. And he was in the Navy. He retired. 20 years in the Navy.
Yeah.
And
20 years, 28 days.
you know,
about 4 hours.
Yeah, if you got issues and you're in the service now, or you just got out, if you got something that happened, see what happens, at least in the Army, if you get hurt, you got an issue. I can name several times. I had ear infection, other problems. You don't go to the doctor because you miss training. It's frowned upon, and they need to change that. And I think they're working on it. But there were so many things you went for, but if it is not listed in the official records when you are discharged, make sure you get that. Because you may not need it for 20, 25 years, but like with my feet, that developed over time, but it was in the records that I had bad feet when I re-enlisted the second time. So they knew about it. So you got to make sure those things are recorded and keep those records. But even if you don't keep them, they're going to have them.
Yeah, because there's like one of the things that he's talking about. If it's not in your record during your time of service and it's something that happens to you later in life, like for example, I actually have frictional alopecia on my legs. And so basically from the midway calf down, I have no hair on my legs. And it's caused from wearing boots and socks and stuff like that for years and years and years in the military. And I actually tried claiming for that, and it was not in my record, so I couldn't prove it. So that's just one of those things that, you know, does happen.
You don't make a claim because you ain't got hairy legs?
You better believe it.
You know where it went? I can tell you where all the hair went.
Yeah, it all came up.
Why don't you cut some of that off and we can glue it on there and you're good. But there are serious things that you might have an injury to your back, and when you're young, you know, you bounce back, but when you get older, you start getting degenerative disc and all that.
You don't bounce back.
You're not able to work like you used to. And there's a lot of people that think, you know, people, disabled vets and people on this, and there are a lot of people on disability that should not be. More on Social Security disability. And you know, they're young, they're claiming mental claims, and there ain't nothing wrong with them. I know, man, I worked at that pawn shop and they would be in there every 3rd of the month saying we got our crazy check. There was nothing physically wrong with these people, nothing.
Yeah.
And they have a quack they go to that everybody knows about, and they go there and he'll sign the paperwork and then they get it. That happens. The fraud is...
there's people out there too that will help you with your VA disability. And we actually, me and my wife went through a few of them before we finally found someone that was able to help us correctly. And we did have a few that had asked, you know, do you want to claim this? And it was like mental PTSD or other things that I know I do not physically have. And I told them flat out, I was like, no, I'm not going to claim that. For one, it's not my record. Two, I know I don't have it.
Yeah.
But, you know, they're trying to push those things. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, I went through that too with a guy that helped me at first. And he said, well, you can claim PTSD. I said, I was never in combat. You know, I went in before any wars. And, you know, and then the rest of the time I'm in reserves, and my unit was actually called up. But after because I traveled around in my civilian job, I just never went, you know. Yeah. It ain't my fault. You can't think less of me because of it. It's just the timing. Yeah. I was too old for that.
Unfortunately, I mean, obviously Navy, we haven't been in like a huge naval battle in a long time. But I'm actually one of those rare breeds that I did boots on ground in Iraq with the Army. So I was actually deployed. We were one of the first full Navy battalions that went and worked doing the counter rocket and mortar defense. So that system that the Army was getting was actually a Navy system, and while they were still training their folks, they were using the Navy to operate that system in the theater of war. So that's one of the things that I did. So yes, as a Navy guy, I had bullets flying over my head. I'd have to drive by the fence. Even though we were still on base, we never left the base like Army or Marines. But we'd still see gunfire. We'd still have mortars coming in every single day. So
I lived in Cleveland. You could get that there too.
Yeah.
But
so, I physically don't have PTSD from that.
But I would say the very small percentage of these shootings are happening. You know, they're not happening by veterans. Yeah, we had Timothy was that the guy that did the Oklahoma City bombing? Timothy McVeigh did that. But I think he was nuts anyway, you know, before he went in.
I mean, you got these good old country boys that can shoot guns sometimes better. I've seen people shoot. I ran the gun range in the Navy, and I've watched some of these people come up to shoot pistols and couldn't hit the target at the 3-yard line. So
there's some that never get it.
Yeah. Oh, it'd be scary sometimes.
And and I'll never forget this. I will never forget this. Now, I trained as a drill sergeant, so I was out on the range, and I'm overseeing these guys when they're shooting. And it was the first time they'd ever been to the range, a cycle of guys, and he's got his M16. Okay, that's what we had when I was in. They weren't AR-15s; they were Vietnam era M16s.
And they still use M16.
And he's going to take his first shot. And what does he do? Instead of, you know, aiming, he's like this. Oh, did I jump on him? I said, do you think you're back home in the hood? That is not how you hold a weapon, soldier. And you would be surprised how many of them did that.
Oh, yeah.
And then you got to question, you know, what have they done before they got in here? But it happens, and there's some that are terrified of it, and they don't realize it until it's in their hand. And when they have to actually fire, they're so terrified, and sometimes it's so bad they got to get out, you know.
Oh, we have a bunch of people that are terrified, just even of the pistols. We use the Beretta 9mm.
And I think that's a lot how they're raised.
Did not like shooting that gun.
But there are conscientious
words are hard.
Objectors. But I don't think this was that. You know, they were just afraid of it. You know, too many TV shows, I guess. I don't know. But they're very safe because they teach you how to handle one. You sleep with it. You live with it. You know, I don't know about the Navy, but the Army, you are issued one in basic training. You don't have them with you all the time in basic training, but when you're in the field, you do. And it doesn't leave your side. So
that's one of the things I was not used to when I went to Iraq is that weapon that was given to me, which was the M4, is just a shorter M16, and that was with me 24/7. It never left my side, even though we were on the base and stuff. We didn't have like full magazines. We only carried, I think, 7 rounds at most. But other than that, yeah, Navy, you don't carry weapons unless you go to watch, right? Whenever you're standing some type of guard watch, that's the only time you ever handle a weapon. So it was a little different. Yeah.
I think all veterans should carry. I mean, they do that in Israel. Is that Israel that does that? Yeah, when they leave the military, they get them.
Yeah, there's a few countries.
But if all the veterans had, you know, and a lot of them already are armed, but if every veteran was armed, because they're well trained on them, you know, there might be a little less crime. But the gun laws now, like here, we can open carry. I would never recommend anybody to do that.
Nope.
If you know, why? You're better off concealing. You don't want people to know you're carrying. You know, I don't carry all the time, but if I go to a city or I go somewhere where, you know, Walmart, because you know Walmarts are hotspots now, and they do let you carry here, but there are places you can't. Just don't tell them. You know, I'm not telling you to break the law, but if I'm going somewhere where I know could be dangerous, I'm gonna be armed, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'll probably lose some subscribers for talking about it, but I don't care. That's my feeling on it. You know, look at the world we live in today. The church shootings. You know, you think for a minute that would have happened over there across the street?
No,
because I guarantee you, most of them boys, they're packing. And there's one, and I know for a fact there's one behind the pulpit. Well, I guess the camera got too hot. I've never had this camera out in the sun, so we're gonna
overheated, folks.
But I'll put a link to his channel, Ivy's Family Factotum, and the Daily Scuttlebutt. He needs subscribers.
Yeah,
on
greatly appreciate it. Yeah, our Scuttlebutt channel, I've even told him too, we're not monetized on that channel yet. Once we do, for 2 years, we're actually going to be donating 100% of our funds from that channel back to veterans. So that's one of the things that we've said we're going to do. So
I'll put the links in the description, guys. Thanks for watching. Happy trails.
See ya.